that, you know, when on busy days, it almost backs up into McInville. So I think that's the goal, is to try to, if we can try to avoid that by having multiple points of ingress and egress.
Right.
I don't know if we can stipulate that or not, but try to work with the business owner to, you know, to have that in there. That would, I think, alleviate those concerns.
There's a slight hill there too that makes it even more dangerous. And that is my ward, and I drive past that all the time.
Right.
So I always stress any new developments over there more on the safety side of entrances off of McInville
Right.
and exits off of McInville. Because of that, just kind of, that's a little bit tricky right there where Taco Bell and everything is.
Yeah, we'll definitely make sure, you know, when it does come through, that additional application that I was just talking about, when that comes through, we'll make sure we closely are aware and review that.
Right, I just, you know, it's kind of weird there, where the road cuts in, and it's a little bit of a slight of a hill, so.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can we
Thank you.
make that a condition of the approval?
According to the regulation, the way it's written, we won't be addressing interest and everything at this time, but at the appropriate time, when that part do come up, then we can make it part of the record. But at this particular time, it's not a requirement as it's dealing with what we're dealing with tonight, according to our plan directly and also to our regulation, Alderman Lynch. But I think it's everyone aware that it's been mentioned, so we can make sure that when it do come back up, we can raise those concerns at that time. Make sure it's done.
We do have requirements like that within our
Yeah.
design standards, so that's one of the things that would be reviewed at that time for the certificate of development.
Perfect.
If anyone in the audience have anything they'd like to speak on this particular item? Anyone? If not, then sure we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to grant final plat approval for Lee Summit Bud Phase 4, Lot 7, 1.67 acres, located on the east side of McInville Road, south of East Commerce Street and north of Monteith Avenue in Section 17, Township 3 South, Range 7 West, based upon a finding that the submitted final plat generally conforms to the requirements of the city's codes and ordinance, subject to the following conditions. And items 1 through 10 are included in the motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have any question? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Now be item 8, which would always be also our planning department.
Thank you. This is also a request. I'm sorry.
Let the record reflect that Alderman Piper is recusing himself from this item and is leaving the room. You may continue. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is also a request for a final plat approval. The request is from Mr. Mark Naylor on behalf of Compel Church. And this is platting approval for a 31.83 acre site. It will be developed for the Compel Church Hernando campus. And with it being zoned R12, for that zoning district, the platting requirements, or the platting for this particular request far exceed that of the zoning district. Planning Commission also recommended approval of this plat, subject to the conditions listed in the report. And I'd like to point out that since this particular lot does have access off of McInville Road and Dilworth Lane, that public improvements would be required along both of those streets. And also, we are missing the sidewalk, the extra mention about the sidewalk. specifically, but it is included in the paragraph with the other public improvements that I believe is also item 4. And that concludes my report.
Does the board have any questions about planning director and comments? Does anyone in the audience have any comments on, relate to this item? There being none, the chair would entertain a motion.
Chair, I'll make a motion to grant final plat approval for Compelled Church Hernando campus, subdivision 31.83 acres located on the west side of McInville Road, north of Dilworth Lane, and south of Cedar Grove Park, in Section 7, Township 3, South, Range 7 West, based upon a finding that the submitted final plat generally conforms to the requirements of the city's code and ordinances, subjected to conditions 1 through 10 listed in the staff report.
We have a motion, can we get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Ask Alderman Piper to return. Item 10, discuss raising the starting salary for animal control position to $15 an hour with a proposed increase to $15.50 in 6 months pending satisfactory work performance. That's from our Assistant Chief, Chief Ellis.
As y'all are aware, we've had a hard time filling this position with that pay. There's been several people interested in the job, but when they find out the pay's $14.14, they tell us they can't take that position for that salary. I got with Julie and Pam, and we ran the numbers, and if we start them out at 15 with this budget, it will fit in our budget for this year. The 50 cents will be 2 months worth in this budget, and then it'll carry over. The majority of it will be the next budget, so we can adjust that budget if we need to. We can't fill that position, and it's been open since last August.
Definitely needs.
Who's handling those responsibilities now? With
Susan.
Okay.
Susan and 2 part-time people.
Okay.
But you like with everything, it's stressing them though, right?
Sir?
It's stressing them
Oh,
without having that position.
Yeah,
even
actually,
though-
yes. It's a major burden on her. And, you know, the part-time, one is doing really good, that she leans on a whole lot. She leans on some volunteers, but, you know, some days it's just her. And that's a major undertaking for one person.
And also, just for the record also, I received numerous calls about they unable to contact our animal control officer because she's out doing these other things already, so she's not even able to handle her call that she's receiving now because of this additional duty. Am I correct, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Do we have somebody in mind to take the job at this amount, or do we need to look at maybe a little higher?
Well, we did have somebody that Susan had talked to, and when the lady crunched the numbers, she advised Susan that she couldn't take a pay cut for that. I mean, no, we do not have anybody set to go for this position right now.
Is she not available still? Does she take another job, or is she just,
She's gonna stay where she's at.
okay.
And really, you know, with this job comes a lot of responsibilities and, on call. And to ask somebody for $14 an hour to get up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when police calls or all these other calls, it's kind of a low salary for the responsibilities that they have.
You think $15 will solve the problem? That's what you're asking for, so I would
Well,
assume
I'm
the answer
asking
to
for
that
that
is yes.
to
but-
start off with them knowing that, down the road that there'll be an increase if their job is satisfactory. I didn't run the numbers for a higher salary. But, this position hadn't been filled since the new budget started. And, if we do have somebody, it'll be 1st of February before we get them hired. If they give a 2 weeks notice, it'll be middle of February, so that'll be another, 5 months into this budget that we won't use that money. So, I think it would be good if we raise a little bit more, but I don't wanna push the envelope on it. Now, Pam or Julie might have a better idea, but just the numbers that we ran, I don't wanna go way over budget.
So I guess what he's asking is really just to go on and advertise with these numbers in effect and see see what happens.
Yeah.
So can we get a motion?
I make a motion to approve the request to increase the control position to $15 an hour.
Authorize him to advertise?
I'm sorry?
Authorize him to advertise? Authorize him to advertise?
Yes. If we've got to do that. Do we have to do that?
You want to get candidates? Yes.
Yeah, then yes.
We got a motion.
Second.
We got a second.
Is that with after 6 months of evaluation
Yes,
rate?
Yes.
Yes, for your request.
Motion is as you requested.
Okay, thank you.
Got a motion and a second. Do we have any comments from the public? Vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Item number 10, approval for the Public Works to use the Gail Center on February the 3rd, 2022 to host the 8/11 conference.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion, got a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Item 12, approval to accept the low quote of $19,110 from Premier Lawn and Turf LLC to perform weed control and fertilization to the athletic field for 2022, and for Jared Bartley to sign the agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve the item 12 as written.
Second. Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. And just for the information, our attorney has reviewed all of these contracts that's before us tonight. And so if being any question about it, he has already looked over all of them. Item 13, approval to pay the Mississippi Department of Employment Security $1,554.75 for payment of unemployment claims.
Motion to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passed. Item 14, authorize the fire department to sign an agreement with ITG.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Item 15, there was just a consideration to join the Council of Government to hire lobbyists to work on our behalf in Jackson for infrastructure foreman, and our cost will be up to $9,375 to cover 15 months, and that's to cover 2 legislative sessions. The reason they went from 12 to 15 months.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item, Mr. Joe Frank. Approval to award the Hernando West Sewer Project to bid to Argo Construction, lowest and bid bid of $486,644.
Okay. We advertised and received some bids there on January the 5th for Hernando West Sewer Project. You know, this is a rebid. The loan bid we had the first time we bid it came in way too high. So we rebid it this time. And Argo Construction's the lowest bid. If you know, Argo Construction already has our sewer bid to AWG project, so they're here in town already working. And you can see, I think they put it in your packet, everybody that bid on it, how much they bid.
It's a big difference.
Mr. Frank, we did, just for the information purpose, on the way that this would be paid, just for clarity, to bring some up on the way that this will be paid for, and when the levy of taxes will be starting also.
Okay. We've lined up up to $750,000 for this project through the state. And they will loan us the money for the project, and basically the Hernando West land out there will be assessed to pay this back as a utility improvement for their property and other properties out in that direction. So all that'll have to be set up with the state and with the tax assessor as to complete that paperwork.
Thank you for the information.
So there will be, citizens, I guess, will not be out any money. It'll all be assessed to that property, paid for by that property.
Hey, y'all have any questions of Mr. Joe Frank on this item? Do we have any comments or any questions from the public? If not, then we entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion, get a second?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
And that would say Argo Construction is the lowest bid. Okay.
Motion passed. Mr. Doug Thorne, approval to advertise and go for bid for the animal shelter. Mr. Thorne?
I think we're finally here again. I do have a digital copy, and I think, it was sent out a lot to several of you, but we're about 3,600 square foot. We kind of revamped the design, working with the committee, some of the aldermen and the mayor and Susan and everybody. We've got it broken down where the kennels, we're kind of pulling those out and making it where it can be easily done as donations or a separate bid package. So it's about 3,600 square feet and all the same functions we had before. I'll be glad to go through it in as much detail as you want or as little as detail as you want. But I think if you can get it advertised, we're ready to go with the drawings, but looking at a calendar, if we can get it in the paper publicized by the 27th of January, we should be able to open bids by March 1st. Is my preliminary review. Attorney will probably want to look at that, but that looks like that'll meet the Mississippi bid laws. So any questions, or I can show the plans, whatever y'all want to do. I don't know how much you've seen, but.
I can just kind of go over the highlights of the plan.
Yeah, hit the floor.
That'd be great.
Some of that. Of course, it is designed to meet all the City of Hernando design requirements, so what you're asking everybody else to do, we're doing with your buildings. Let me get to a good floor plan here. We'll use this one. Does have a pointer? No. Okay, I'm gonna try to speak loud enough to hear it. What we have is this portion is where somebody could drive in and either drop off an animal or receive an animal, and this would be fenced in, so kind of like a sally port, so the dogs wouldn't get away once they get out of the car. They can come in. We have a dog quarantine and a cat quarantine area that can be sanitized and contained, easily cleaned. And then this room has the dog wash that was donated to the city. Is in this room, and all of that comes into this contained area. And then you have a door for the public on the front. This community room that can be used for community education, group meetings, introduction to a pet, that type of thing. Public bathroom, staff bathroom, office for the director. Coming this way, this will be a lab and a treatment room as well. And we have the millwork in part of the furniture package. So it can be provided by a vendor that does that type of furniture, so it's made to be easily cleaned and not transfer disease, that type of thing. Have a secured pharmacy room to hold drugs, medications, large storage room for dog food, supplies, that type of thing. And then this would be the cat kennel area, and this would be the dog kennel area. And let me zip forward to, okay, this is showing the number of kennels. So all these blue squares, we're working with a kennel vendor. Some of the cat kennels can be 3 kennels high, and some of the smaller dog kennels can be 2 kennels high. And then we have these larger kennels on the back that can go out into dog runs. So you can see it's been a couple days since I've done the final count, but significantly more than we had in the previous designs as far as capacity of animals. And have plenty of sinks. Also have a laundry in the back corner so they can wash supplies, that type of thing. And also bring in supplies through the back door without having to come in through the front door. So all of the perimeter is concrete block walls for easy cleanability, epoxy paints, polished concrete floors in most of it, brick veneer all the way around, all 4 sides. Simple construction. We've looked at metal building and wood, and right now, because metal buildings are 6, 8, 10 months out, I think the wood and block combination would be a quicker, and we're being told less expensive. We just bid a community center in Como, and we did metal building thinking it was going to be cheaper, and the contractor came back afterwards and said, if you'll let us do it in wood, we can save some money. So it's kind of at a tipping point right now in the market because of market conditions. So be glad to answer anything.
I wanted to make a point too, that everybody knows that, like the cat room, those cages have been donated. There's the industrial size washers and dryers have been donated. So there's a lot that's being donated, and promises of more donation of interior needs. And we've tried to scale this thing down as tight as we can, a 60 by 60, basically on the piece of land that we've already put money into. So this is like, what, the 5th plan?
3rd, at least.
3rd, okay. It's been shaved down as bare bones and basic as possible with expansion possibilities in the future as needed,
Right.
so.
Is all the, I know it's roughly a 60 by 60 building, is it all heated and cooled squared feet? Or
Yes. Now, we are, the animal areas, we're tempering that. It won't be 68 degrees, but, it'll be comfortable for the workers, and it will all be air conditioned.
Is there a place for, I guess, I know somebody donated money specifically for like freezer or something, is there a place specifically for that?
The storage room's got room for a freezer, right?
Things you don't think about, because I
Right.
didn't think about that.
Right.
I'll just say, so I went to the county animal shelter, which was built, decades ago. And it's partially heated and cooled. And that was one of the things they pointed out specifically, is that the only way to get ventilation in there is, with fans and opening their skylights and that sort of thing. So that was definitely one thing I wanted to make sure we had cleared up, because that is it's an animal shelter. It's not going
Right.
to be the best smelling
Right.
building in town for sure.
And we did make provisions that you could open it up, air it out. We've got some louvers and some of that built in. So it
Okay.
is conditioned, but then when you're cleaning, you want to bring in a lot of fresh air, you've got that capacity as well.
And I don't, because some of this, and I'm not looking at these things sometimes can be a little, it's your world, it's not mine, right? As far as like how the water system works, like if they needed to hose down those areas, is there an internal water system,
Right.
or is it like dragging hoses through the?
There would be some, there's a lot of sinks, and there'll be several hose bibs, and then you can kind of see. We did reduce the amount, but we still have trench drains, and you see a lot of floor drains. So we simplified that from some of the previous designs and kind of talked through that with Susan, and we also consulted with a veterinarian in Tupelo that she works closely with. So we feel like we've made, adequate provision. It's not top of the line where you can hit a button and hose it down, but, it should be fairly easy to do.
What do you expect the bid to come back at? Do you have any idea?
This bid market, I would think, without the furniture and the kennel equipment costs, you're probably 600 to 900. We're seeing roughly $180 to $200 a square foot right now in fairly simple construction. The whole furniture package I showed you with all those kennels, if you had to buy them all today, are about $90,000 with the millwork and everything. So your donation's just gonna reduce that amount, so.
Right, and those have been measured, and we know those will fit, that have been donated, and they're
Right.
sitting there just waiting, yeah. That's a big expense right there.
It is.
So basically, you said hopefully it's coming in between 180 and 200 a square foot.
Right. And we broke out, and coordinate this with Joe Frank as well, but we broke out the alternates for the paving out front. So the roads and the parking are all add alternates. So if you just want to do the building, if you have other contracts you can leverage to do the roads, you've got some flexibility built into that on bid day.
When we were all meeting too, I want to make a point to say that we were looking at alternate things that we could cut out to keep the costs down too. If the bid comes back too high, that we can cut some things out and maybe look at future needs to do that. So I
And
want
we
to
have
make that point too.
Yeah, fencing is also another alternate that we've got identified.
Right, so we have quite a few things that are identified as alternate things that we can shave off if it still does not come back to everyone's liking.
Is there any landscaping included?
I do not. We do have sodding all the disturbed areas, so it will be left finished, but no landscaping yet.
And this building fits on that pad, it's already there.
Right.
Pam, do you know the approximate amount of the donations towards this project?
I believe it was over $8,000.
Okay. All right.
I had contacted Pam this morning, there's $8,000 specifically for construction.
Okay.
And then there's, I think 46,000 for kind of specific things, and then there's another 30,000 for some specific things, but some that's also for vet bills and different things, so I don't know the exact, if you had to break it out, but there's 8,000 specifically for construction costs.
Right.
I think we want to also thank, Thorne for what he have done, because there's been a significant saving already off the top. I mean, that's not even,
He's to be commended for.
right, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
working
this
on
is,
project for, I guess, 5 years or so.
Right.
It's a
I would've been here
2018
years,
project
yeah,
numbers.
that's what I'm saying. So, and that's had been, you can imagine if we was, as a city, paying for its service.
It would be well
Yeah, so.
in excess of 100,000.
So I'm just
from
saying,
what
so we
we've
want to,
calculated.
we want to make sure, we go on the record, and, appreciate everything.
Right.
I was
you done done.
glad to do it.
Anyone in the audience have any comments, question, anything about this? As you already know, the mayor is not present tonight, at this meeting. But he feel like he want to make, a couple of statements, and, I'm gonna read one, and Alderman Piper, when we get to the other item,
Okay.
will do that. I'd like to read this into the record and actually be added to the record on behalf of the Mayor Johnson. Approval to advertise and go for bid for the ambulance building project. New animal shelter has been debated for many years, and this board placed $900,000 into the budget for this year. We formed a committee of aldermen, staff, architecture, and the mayor to work towards a design. After many meetings and a couple of redesigns, we have the plan you see before you tonight. It will fit in the blueprint of the building pad that is ready at Renaissance Park, and our architecture believe that it will be within or near our budget amount. Keep in mind that we have some funds in the city coffer that have been donated to help with most of the furnishing of the animal shelter. This project is long overdue, and I'm in favor of authorizing AERC to seek bids on this project. Those are comments from the mayor, and we're going to ask that they be placed into the minutes for tonight on behalf of Mayor Johnson. That being said, we'll entertain a motion.
Can I just clarify that,
Yeah.
that $900,000 is not liquid money, we'll be taking a loan out to pay for the deal, is that correct?
Yeah, that was just a budget amount.
Right.
That's how much we had in our budget, a combination of bond money that we have, donation, and loan that we placed in our this year budget for that. Correct, Alderman Booker? Anyone else have any comments about the funding source or anything like that? Chair then will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve, to advertise and go to bid for the animal shelter building project as proposed.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item passed. Item 18,
Thanks, Doug.
huh? Item 18, authorize Mayor Johnson to sign the FY 2021 continuing disclosure engagement letter with Butler Snow that you have there in your packet.
Motion to authorize.
Got a motion, a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 19, approval to apply for grant funding Approval to apply for grant funding from the Recreation Trails Program for Phase 2 of the skate park located in Renaissance Park.
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve.
We got a motion, have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Item 20, discuss the park master plan and funding opportunity.
Do we have any material to review, or is that just kind of a discussion item?
I think it's just a discussion item.
Just discussion. And give some direction, on which way to go, and, you want to lead the discussion?
Yes, sir. So, you know, in going door to door and in living in this community, I think that there has been a want from, you know, parents, grandparents in this community to have facilities, more facilities or updated facilities for the city of Hernando to have our recreational programs. One that has been ongoing for a long period of time has been, you know, we have the Civic Center ball fields where we can't, we can have programs conducted out there, but we can't necessarily have funds spent out there because it is not owned by the city. It's privately held, so we can't use public dollars to make improvements out there. So I think from a master plan standpoint, we're beginning to look at the next steps for creating something that the city can have of its own. At Renaissance Park, which is a piece of land the city already owns that we can develop out for several needs, baseball and softball, other sports like, you know, a potential football field, practice football field, possibly you know, basketball, tennis. There's several opportunities that could come from that space. So myself and a couple other aldermen have met with firms to discuss what that would look like to try to put together a master plan, and also what it would look like to fund something like this. Additionally, we have areas like the Hernando soccer complex that are just, you know, incomplete. We're taking some steps to rectify that with this current budget to pave the soccer complex, but there's still, the facility's half lit. We need more lighting out there to have the facility completely lit so that we can use it all for greater practice times and game times, to give us more flexibility in scheduling. So that's something that would be, I think, included in a master plan like this. It wouldn't necessarily just be a Renaissance Park plan. It would be a full-scale, let's assess where we are and look at capital projects for every park within the city. I think that's the goal here, is to look at, is it time to take on, you know, this Renaissance Park? I think it's time to look at it for sure and figure out how we fund something like this. I don't think it's something that we can do within our own budget currently, just based on the millage that we have, and then raising taxes on the people that live here just to fund, you know, park facilities that are going to have maintenance and operations budgets that are attached to them. It's going to be it would just be too much to put on the millage of the city. So in my mind, we have to look at the potential of a sales tax increase as a possibility, but allow the people of the city to vote on it. As other cities in DeSoto County and across the state have done in the past. We've seen the results from it, and it wouldn't be to have it as a project to compete with you know, some of the larger parks that have the, you know, the state and regional tournaments. It would be something to just to service this community and to get us, you know, where I think the standards and expectations are for this community and to service this community. So that would be kind of my opening statement in discussing it. I know it was a very long and lengthy one, but, you know, that's me, you know, so.
You said it well.
Everybody likes details.
While they getting their thoughts together, could you read into the minutes, Mayor Johnson's statement on this project?
Yes, sir. So this is the Mayor Johnson's statement regarding this item. Many citizens have expressed a desire to have better and more park facilities, such as new baseball fields, more lighted soccer fields, more tennis courts, more basketball courts, and more opportunities for football and other long field games. The Board of Aldermen voted this year for the largest ever transfer of general funds to the parks for general upkeep and operations. There was much debate to get to that point. What this debate made crystal clear to me was that there is simply no funding mechanism within our parks and general fund budget to pay for the needed upgrades to our facilities. I've been asked hundreds of times why we can't have baseball and soccer facilities like Senatobia. These fields were built with a tax on prepared foods. South Haven, Horn Lake, and Senatobia all use this same mechanism to fund their capital parks projects. The best option is to ask our legislature to allow the citizens of Hernando to vote on a defined plan to upgrade our parks using a tax on prepared foods. I want to make it very clear, I'm in favor of hiring Kimley Horn, the local Hernando dad running the project, to prepare a parks upgrade plan, produce an estimated cost, and ask our state senators and representatives to simply offer the people of Hernando a chance to vote this fall. There's nothing more democratic than allowing citizens to vote on the future of Hernando's parks.
Thank you, Alderman Piper.
Yes, sir.
Coming from the board.
I think there's a couple key things we need to maybe just put out there that I think we're talking about a penny for the parks tax. And when we were in Jackson last week, we spoke to our representatives, Jerry Darnell and Michael McClendon. And my understanding, if we're going to do this year, we got about a month to get a bill drafted and together. So that's something we got to think about if we're going to move forward with that this year. If not, we'll have to wait till the next legislative session. We tried this thing, Alderman Miller, I guess, what year was that? Do you remember?
I don't remember the year, but I think
2015.
2015, and it failed pretty overwhelmingly. And I think that was because we did not have a very detailed plan in place, and I don't think there was a lot of community involvement. And so I would like to see that change this time, and I think that's part of why Mayor Johnson's asking for this, I guess you would call him a consultant, to be involved, because they kind of specialize in doing that. I think they've done that for several cities throughout the state. I do agree with Alderman Piper that I don't see a way to fund the parks that our citizens want and deserve without some type of funding mechanism, either, you know, pennies for the parks, or, you know, without increasing sales or property taxes dramatically to do that. And so that's kind of my position on it. I think we're not asking for to raise someone's tax. We're asking people to vote to raise their own taxes, and I think it would, with a detailed plan and community involvement, I think it would pass pretty easily in this city. That was a big issue that I heard on the campaign trail was parks and roads, and so or parks and potholes is what I called it. So I think it's what our citizens deserve to get where we need to be, and we're not trying to compete with the South Haven or Horn Lake or some of the other cities. But man, it's frustrating when you drive down 55 and you see that thing on Senatobia right there. And you know, our citizens, our city needs something like that. Our kids deserve it. I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are, but
couldn't said it better.
that's kind of where I am with it.
I like to piggyback on what you just said, Alderman Wicker. I have a lot of friends that's in the city of Grenada. And Grenada was just like Hernando on the first time that they went around for the Peninsula Park. It failed badly. But what they came back and did, is they came back and upgraded their plan. We had a plan, but it wasn't very well advertised or distributed. And what they did the second time around, they improved upon their plan. But the biggest thing they did, they put it back out in the public, and they used every opportunity that they have to share with the public on what the vision and the dream was for their park system. And the second time around, it passed overwhelming. So, and I think that's what we're hearing tonight from a lot of citizens, and also the board, is that let's get some more assistance. We got what we call a plan, but look at that plan and have some professional help.
Mr. Miller, are you referring to the plan, I guess it was done back in 2014 or 15?
Yeah, and that was the plan, yeah. And take that plan, as a blueprint, and take that blueprint and massage it, get more citizen input, because as Alderman Piper said, we need to look at more of the field type, the long-range field where it can be used for multi-purpose. So we won't just use, say, like words like football or soccer. It'll be multi-purpose long-range field that can be used for multiple different sports. And let's put the ideas out there, but get the citizen input. And the biggest thing is that it's timeline, just like on anything else. As Mr. Thorne said about our advertising on that, we're dealing with a timeline now, and that's been asking tonight to get some direction on where to proceed, to allow the mayor to proceed along with the park director and others.
I do have a question. I know we can, this may be for the attorney, can we just kind of pick who we want there, or is that something we have to bid out, or is he donating his services? I don't know.
He's being paid, is he?
No, I do think it'd be under professional services, so I don't know if that would be.
But what we're gonna do is, what the board can do tonight is allow the mayor to pursue that type of specialist service that we needed, and since it will be a professional service, and also to authorize the mayor to pursue we're getting with the attorney to draft the necessary, paperwork that we can start getting it before the legislature. In other words, just tonight I would say, along with what you're saying, so we won't be in no gray area to let them work out those details, but just give them some direction on tonight on where to proceed. The mayor was just expressing his thoughts on it.
Well, I agree. I would love to see someone local in Hernando.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So
I just want to make sure we're going playing by the rules.
right, that's what I'm saying. That's where we just need to get them. I think we just need to get them some direction tonight, because ain't nothing we could approve tonight other than giving out direction. Correct, Mr. Pittman?
I think so. It's just for discussion. If you want to authorize that, me to work with the mayor and hammer out those details,
We can do that. We can legally do that. That's what I'm saying tonight.
I guess just one more point. Nobody else seems to be saying anything, so I think it's probably important to mention that the tax structure in Mississippi is in the process of being changed. I think the House passed a bill last week to kind of eliminate the income tax and I think increase sales tax on some, I think, on this prepared food items. So that's something that we need to mention, that probably is going to be increased also. So this will be additional to the I think $0.015 that's going to be put on prepared foods anyway, if that bill stands up.
I don't think I don't know what the effective date on that bill was.
It's going to be July 1st if it goes into effect, but.
And that's lowering the tax on groceries, but increasing on other items.
On your general sales tax.
On general sales tax.
But you will be eliminating, your income tax.
Scaling down the state income tax to
That's going to be
zero.
over a period of 5 to 10 years or something. when that
Right,
happens, so.
right.
But I just mean people, and I think we need to be upfront with the citizens of what this thing's gonna cost. I think that was part of the problem last time. I think, and just in my opinion, it was sold as this is gonna be outside people coming in to play baseball tournaments paying this tax. That's not what this is gonna be. This is gonna be a tax on our people who go to
Plus-
McDonald's or whatever.
Well,
you
plus
know.
it wasn't totally defined
Right.
as to how the money could be spent and exactly what it was going to be spent for. So transparency, total transparency is the only way to get something.
And I would like to see,
Passed.
the first, I think we're talking about $700,000 a year will be generated from this thing, something like that is an estimate. I would like to see, the first 2 years, we're gonna do this, 1, 2, 3. The next 2 years, we're gonna do this, 1, 2, 3. I think that would be a good, kind of a good area to go.
And I think that it's my understanding there is a state statute that specifies that special levy taxes like this can only be used for capital expenditures. So it can't be used for general maintenance budgets, it can't be used for payroll, it can only be used for capital expenditures. So this fund, if it goes to pay a bond, those would be used for capital expenditure projects related to parks development.
I support the mayor's comments, and I'm of the opinion that we should follow his suggestion to hire Kimley Horn, who apparently has a lot of experience doing this. It doesn't say how much their fees
Well,
are.
that's what we were saying tonight, that what we can do is tonight, to stay within the guideline is to authorize them to proceed with those and then bring back, those type of things, Alderman Harris.
We're just in a time crunch if we want to get it
Let's
done this
start.
year.
Right.
I'm in favor of it, let's do it.
I'll make that motion at the appropriate time.
Okay, so then anybody in the public have any comments, anything? And I'm gonna ask the attorney for clarification to make sure that we, what we can do tonight, my understanding, that the board can authorize the mayor to proceed with a plan on getting us a master plan and a professional service to do that, and also to look at the funding opportunity to see what it would take to get the Peninsula Park legislature done and 2 hour legislature within the next 30 days in order to make this legislative deadline. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's what we could do tonight legally and still cover all our concerns tonight, Alderman Wilker.
So be my motion.
We got a motion,
Second?
got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. To ask the matter to proceed with. Item 21, approval to pay Becky Reed $550, which is half the expense incurred to repair the structure and damage to the sewer pipe at 1577 Oak Grove Road. And y'all have the full package and everything in your record.
Chairman, at the recommendation of our city attorney, I make the motion to approve the request.
We got a motion,
Second.
we got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. At this time, before item 22 come up, the board needs to appoint a mayor pro tem because I will be recusing from item 22. So the board needs to appoint a mayor pro tem from among themselves to deal with item 22.
Motion to appoint Alderman Wicker as a temporary mayor pro tem.
We got a motion, got a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Alderman Wicker will be the mayor pro tem for item 22, and
You gonna recuse
Miller
yourself, right?
recusing and leaving the room.
Yes, sir.
I done left the room.
So item 22, we're going to consider the water leak appeal for 515 West Oak Grove Road. The $649.59 adjustment was denied because the leak was inside the building. Mr. Germany, if you would proceed with, I guess you have anything to present, or?
Yes, sir. I just looked at all the stuff that you guys have in the packet, and I just went by the ordinance verbatim, how it states. The city does not approve any water leak adjustments if the leak is not outside the residence, home, building, whatever it may be. So I just went by that.
All right.
That's really all I have on it.
I
Any
think-
questions I can answer?
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Germany? I think Mr. Maxwell, you want to speak a minute?
I do. Thank you all for this board. I rent the building from Alderman Miller. We went in on the 12th. When we come back on got to be the next Sunday, not knowing during the week, water was all in the building. I think that was the 19th. Cutting the water meter off, trying to get the building back together, and on the 20th, we capped it. We didn't repair it all, we just capped it to make sure that didn't happen anymore, but it was inside of the walls. We had no apparent to know that this was happening until we went back down there on the, I want to say that's the 19th. Yeah. But when we had service on the 12th, between the 12th and the 19th, something happened. And it was inside of the wall.
Is there any further questions for Mr. Maxwell? Does anybody have a motion?
The way things have been in the past is like what you said. It's the city's, their guidelines are, if it's inside, it's not covered. If it's outside, it's covered.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the city's stance on, that's their,
Yes, ma'am, and I don't have a date on it, but in my ordinance sheet that I have, it's a little older. It used to be one bill credit per year per customer, no matter if it was inside or outside, if it was a leak. And then the ordinance was amended, I'm not sure when, and it took the interior part out. It's just exterior now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Anybody, any further discussion, or anybody have a motion?
Are we able to?
Against the ordinance?
I mean, do we have the discretion to?
You're the law-making body of the city, so
Mhm.
the issue is though that, because Alderman Miller is involved, if you do it for one person, you're gonna do it for everybody.
That is true.
So if it's changed for a purpose, for a reason, but if it's not outside, if it's inside the building, then there's not an adjustment that's authorized.
I mean, I can certainly sympathize. I've been, I believe I had a water leak. Gosh, it was probably 2 months after this ordinance went into place and was changed, and I had a close to $1,000 water bill due to a leak. The emergency shut-off valve was not operating properly, and we didn't catch it. It was just in a isolated part of the home. So certainly can sympathize, and that it is a, one, it's a it is a burden for sure. I would be open to, discussing either potentially splitting this amount in some kind of way, possibly. I don't know what anybody else thinks, but.
You still get into what our city attorney said, though.
Yeah.
That, and it's unfortunate, but when you get into making amends for some and not everyone, then that becomes expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I want to say prior to the changes, it was somewhere between $28,000 and $32,000 a year that was getting kind of waived.
Well, I think also that it was a term that, I don't think we were following the state statute with giving away free water since it was.
Okay.
That's a better point there, Mr. Wilson. I'm gonna recommend that you deny the
Okay.
Is there a motion? I'll make a motion to deny.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Get Mr. Miller back. So take it back over.
Item 22, approve utility adjustment docket.
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the utility docket.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Vote, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Item 24.
Thing, man, I always make the motion to adjourn.
Okay, I'm gone.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. We got a motion, got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
See yourself.